Hi everyone, we are gonna start a new project while I'm gone. I'm excited about this one. It is a mandala that you're gonna create. So you're gonna need a square piece of paper. So I'm working out of my sketchbook, but I've drawn the square here. So Mr. Dandy will give you a square piece when you're ready to move on to your final. And it needs to be a mixed media piece because we're going to be doing watercolor on this. So it could be a watercolor paper or a mixed media paper. But we're going to focus on symmetrical and radial balance. So radial is when it starts from the center, and if you think about it, it's radiating outward. It's going from the center out, and it's circular. And so we're also going to touch on color harmonies too, which we'll get into color later. But something that we're going to be looking for is line, pattern, value, shape, and color. And so as we're designing our piece, I want you to keep those elements of art in mind. So the first thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to find the center of your square. And so a way to do that is to draw a line from corner to corner, and all of your line work needs to be very, very light because we are going to be erasing all of these lines because we're working in watercolor, and you know watercolor is transparent, and so all your line work is going to show when you start working in watercolor. But I did an X, I don't know if you can see it, but I drew very, very lightly. So now I know that the center of my paper is right here and I can make a dot. So what you're gonna need to use is a compass or a divider. These are tools to make perfect circles. So what you do is you place the point into the center of your paper where that dot is, and we're gonna make the pretty large circle, probably as large as I can go. So my line is right here, so I came right below it. And what I'm gonna do is have the point right in that dot, and I have to keep that point there. This is tricky, so I want you practicing in your sketchbook before you move on to your final. But you can see, and I'll get pretty close, I was able to really draw a perfect circle. And I made sure that the point of my needle was right there in the center. So if your needle moves, your line is going to move, and you're going to need to erase it and start all over, okay? This piece, you're going to be judged on your detail work. So you need to really take your time on this. So we divided this into fours by finding this center point. I'm going to ask you to divide it again so that we're going to now have eighths in our piece. So I'm going to find out, my measurement is 8 inches here, so half of 8 is 4. So I'm going to make 2 tick marks, one at the top and one at the bottom. Make sure that my ruler is on each dot that I made perfectly. And I'm going to draw my line down. And look, I'm off a little bit. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm off a little bit, so I'm going to have to redo this. Make sure I get it in the center. Okay. Remember, we're looking for precision here. So we need to make sure that all of this is perfect before moving on. So I have this line that's going straight through the center point. So I also need to do one the other way, but I didn't finish my line. Okay, so then I'm going to turn it and do the other side. Okay, so now I've divided my piece into 8 segments, right? So we have, let's start here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they all run directly through this dot. If it is above the dot or below the dot, you need to erase the line and redo it. So I am looking for a perfect division between this circle, and you need to have 8 segments, okay? So now after we have these 8 segments, you're able to start creating your design. And now your design is going to be made up of lines, patterns, shapes, and color, okay? And since we divided it up, it's going to be easier for us to create the shapes and create symmetrical and radial balance. So whatever I do here, I have to do here and create symmetry on both shapes. Now, another thing that you can do is create more circles to help you when you're drawing. So I'm going to create a few more, and I'm going to show you how this is going to help me. Again, I'm putting this right in the dot, in the center. All right. And you can do as many as you want. It's going to help you with your design. Just don't let this center point move at all. I might do one more up here. Okay, so in my sketchbook, I created different circles and they're different widths, okay? The larger spaces that you have, the harder it's going to be to create something symmetrical from this side to the other side. And I'll show you why that's going to happen. But the more circles you do, the more spaces you're going to have to create shapes and patterns. So take your time. This needs to go into your sketchbook first, and I want you to lay out your design. Now in the PDF on the CD, I have some examples of mandalas. Now I want you to see how detailed they can be. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to start to do some designs. So whatever I do here, then I'm going to have to jump across and do that same design here. And then I might say, okay, I'm going to bring this shape up a little bit higher to this point. Everything has to be symmetrical. And I want your design work to be thoughtful and to be, this needs to be a really beautiful piece in the end. Now the whole design does not need to be completed in your sketchbook, but we need to see at least what one whole section will be like. The more you plan out, the better. I would like for you to do more in your sketchbook, but your sketchbook is a place for you to get your ideas out before you start working your final, on your final piece. And then I might, the more shapes you do inside these shapes, the more interesting it becomes. I might do like a diamond here and have it come to this point. I would use rulers, you can use objects in the art studio if you would like. I want to see how creative you can be. I'm just going to keep creating more of these shapes, but you can see how the more lines you do, the easier it is to create these symmetrical shapes. So, you know, honestly, I think it would be easier if I even divided this segment and created another line here, because that's going to help me know where to connect these shapes to. When you start doing random shapes in the center, they're not going to be symmetrical with the other side. Like if I did, let's say if I did this shape like this on this side, looks like a snowman, but like 2 circles, it's going to be really hard for me to do the same shape here floating in the center. See, already me doing this, I see there's less space here and more space here, and it's not like that over here. Now if I create another line, another segment, it's going to be easier for me to create symmetry. So if this is 4, then what, half of this would be 2. And this would be 2. And then all I need to do is go into the center. And now I have, this is going to make things a lot easier, because now I can say, okay, I'm going to do a shape and it's going to touch this corner, come here. So I'm going to keep filling the spaces with shapes, and I'll know exactly what I need to do on the opposite side and how much I need to go above the line to create the other space. So you're going to keep creating this. I'm going to keep working on it, and then I'll kind of show you what it looks like in the end. But this needs to be first thought out in your sketchbook. At the top, it needs to have the date, and it needs to have the title of this piece. And you'll title it the same title as the CD, I mean not the CD, as the card that's in your playlist, okay? And so this is where we're going to work out what color harmonies you're going to use and your design work. And the next video that I create will be on what color harmonies are and which ones you're going to choose. So I'm going to keep working on this. And you can look at other mandalas online to get inspiration. And remember, everything needs to be symmetrical. Try and keep your line work minimal so it's just one line and it's not so sketchy, because remember, we're working in watercolor and you'll be able to see all your line work underneath it. Okay, I'm going to keep working and then I'll show you what it's like at the end.